I'll be showing 14 new features in Excel. This includes Excel Desktop 365 as well as Excel for the web. So let's get started. The first new feature is called Focus Cell, and this allows you to easily see where a cell is in Excel spreadsheet. One of my favorites in a long time. I'll go to the View menu, and there is a new option here called Focus Cell, and I will click this. Immediately you see this nice green horizontal and vertical row, and I can see exactly where that cell is. If you have a really big spreadsheet with really tiny font, it can be really hard to see where your cell is. I can also change the color. So if I drop this down, I can choose Focus Cell color. Maybe I like purple. Folks know me, I'm a big OneNote fan, so really easy to see where my cell is. If I want to turn it off, just click Focus Cell, and it goes back to normal. The second new feature is the ability to translate any text inside of Excel to a different language. So I've got a statement here. I'm going to need those TPS reports ASAP from our friend Bill Lumberg. So now I will click equals, and there's a new function called translate. Now the first parameter is going to be text. So I'll click here in cell A2. The next parameter is source language, and you can see there are many different languages here. I've already put EN, which is for English. That's the original language, the source language. And then comma, and then the final parameter is the target language. What do we want to translate this into? And in this case, it will be Spanish. And then I'll close the parentheses and hit enter. And look at that. It turned that little TPS report statement right into Spanish. I've got a couple other languages here, so I'm just going to click and go down and see what they are. Check that out. I've got French, Arabic, German, and Norwegian. So that's the translate feature. The third new feature is similar, and it allows you to detect what language you're looking at. So what language is this? I will select this cell and do equals, and there's a new function called detect language. And it only takes one parameter, which is the text that you want to detect from. So I'll select this right here, close parentheses, hit enter. And this is in ES, which is Spanish. And I double click here, and it detects all those different languages automatically. The fourth new feature is an inclusive and accessible one. If I go to the review menu, there's an option here called check accessibility, and I'm going to click this. It opens up the new accessibility assistant. Now currently this looks good and no issues found, but if there's color and contrast or median illustrations or table headers that are missing, so in this case, maybe I'm going to make all of my text a really nice red color. That can be hard for people to see in terms of colors. If I go to red here, okay, there is hard to read text contrast. Avoid red formatting. So if I click here, it gives me some options. I can go back. I'm going to change my font color. Let's go back to black. Great, looking good. No issues found. If I have an image in here and it doesn't have alt text, that will pop up. So there's lots of ways that you can check the accessibility of your tables to make it more inclusive with this accessibility assistant. If you go to the top, there is a ribbon that pops up, a contextual ribbon, has all sorts of accessibility options so you can have everything you need to make all your tables in Excel more accessible. The fifth new feature is the ability to create really nice shapes automatically in Excel with the Draw tab. So I'll go to Draw here, and I'm going to choose a pen, and actually I'll draw with touch, but it works the same with pens. If I make a shape, I will just draw a kind of ugly looking rectangle. If you hold right here, it makes it into a nice shape. Same thing with the square. I'll go and sort of half draw it ugly. There's a nice square. Same thing with the circle. Let's make a nice circle. Oh, look at that. It'll even make a heart. So I'm going to go and make a heart right here. When I get to the bottom, I'm going to hold it. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Now we're moving to Excel for the web. The sixth new feature is the ability to really easily resize rows or columns in Excel for the web. So if I click right here, you get the little splitter bar, and I can easily resize that like that. Same thing with the row. If I hover, you'll see the little splitter bar, and I can make that bigger. The seventh new feature is the ability to easily insert columns and rows in Excel for the web. So if I hover right here, what you're going to see is that little plus shows up. So if I click that, it inserts a new column. Same thing with the row. If I hover right here, you can see a little plus. If I click that, it inserts a row very easily. The eighth new feature in Excel for the web is the ability to streamline the unhiding process. You can see right here, I've got a row 9 and then it goes to row 18, which means I have a bunch of hidden rows. Now, normally you have to select both of these and then right click and say unhide. An easier way that exists is if I hover right over that little splitter bar, that little up and down arrow shows, click to unhide, click. Really easy to unhide those rows. The ninth new feature is easily reordering columns and rows. So if I move my cursor right over the B column, you'll see those little 6 dots appear and then a hand. Now if I click, I can just drag and reorder this right there. Same thing with the row. I click on the row, I see those 6 dots. I can easily just drag and drop that row, and now it is reordered. The 10th new feature is highlighting rows and columns to easily see where you're at. So if I click on a row here, you're going to see there's a light green above the C column and a light green on the 8 row. So now I can click and see quickly where exactly I'm highlighting. Very nice and visual distinguishing marks in Excel for the web. The 11th new feature is an easy way to freeze columns and rows in Excel for the web. So I'm going to go and move my cursor right here to the upper corner, and you can see that little blue line appears next to the hand. If I click the left mouse button and drag to the right, that's going to set my freeze point. You can see that blue, it's like a frozen blue line jump. So I'm going to freeze it on the B column. I let go. Now when I scroll horizontally, you can see that B column has been frozen. Now I can hover back, it turns blue. I can drag this back to where it was. It works the same way with rows. So if I hover, I get a blue line. There is my row. And now when I go up and down, you can see that it is frozen, and I'll just hover, blue line, take it back. The 12th new feature is a way to share a sheet view in Excel for the web. I'm going to go to the view menu here, and I've created a specific sheet view that's called the mic view. Now, it's not the default view, it's my special mic view. Now I'd like to share that with someone. So I just right click on a cell in this sheet view, and down here there's a new option that's copy link to sheet view. I click this. It makes a link specifically to this view that I've created, and now I can send this out to someone else. The 13th new feature brings some of the Excel desktop drag and fill series features to Excel for the web. I have the number 100 right here. I'm going to click the left mouse button, and I'm going to drag down and let go. Now there's this new on hover menu, and I can say autofill options. I can drop this down, and I might say copy cells or flash fill, but in this case I will choose to fill series. Click that, and now I get that series filled just like that. There's other options just like in Excel where you can change that, but it's a nice way that we're bringing that same parity to Excel for the web that exists in Excel desktop. The 14th new feature is pasting improvements in Excel for the web. I'll highlight a set of cells right here and choose copy, and now I'll go over here, select a cell and choose Control V to paste. There's a new on hover menu that pops up that has my pasting options. I will drop that down. In this case, I just want to have the values. I don't want to keep the formatting or the links or anything else. I'm just going to choose values only. And very quickly it strips out all the formatting and all the formulas, and now I just have those values. If you want to keep up with all the latest Microsoft updates and tips and tricks, subscribe to my channel and then just ring the bell so you get all the latest videos that I post.